Yo, round two, fight. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another 42 level 1. This is your second of the evening. The first was very short. You couldn't hear me at all. I am one of your hosts, Alistair Kennedy, and here with me, as always, is the man that's about to check the sound, the former Twilight Princess of all games, the current Twilight Princess of YouTube, the Uncharted 3 liar and denier himself, the man of many names, but we just call him one, Andy.
Mr. Undercut here, as always. Sound seems fine.
You hear us both, yes?
Oh, I haven't spoken yet, but sure.
You can hear me. That's all that matters.
I can hear you.
If you were silent, and I wouldn't have fixed that, I'd just left it. So we're back. Apologies there. It's every time Streamlabs, which is what we use, or Discord has an update, it messes up all the settings. And I do have these saved as scenes, as Fraser told me to, and he's like, you can swap between them. You can't. You actually can't do that. They just delete themselves every time there's an update. They do whatever they want.
Oh.
So apologies, we were not here last week, but show's a bit more infrequent. I totally forgot about it till it was too late, and Andy never messaged me, so that would have reminded me, but we didn't do it.
We did not.
But yes, we're here this week, and we're here to talk a few games, as you might have seen in the title: PowerWash, Resident Evil, and more. What could we be talking about? Well, I've played an RPG, Andy's played some horror, and I've washed some cars. But we've got
It's because it's summer. It's summertime. So I was like, I need to wash the car, but I can't be bothered washing my real car, so I'm going to wash a fake car on a game.
I haven't actually washed my real car.
Exactly.
I should have the other night when I was emptying the blooming... we bought a swimming pool because they were cheap. They're usually like £60 odd. They were down to 26 in Tesco's, and we bought one. And this was big enough that I could stretch out in it, and there was still about that. So roughly the same for you, because you're slightly taller than me. You'd have been able to lie flat out in it with space, and I could push backwards and forwards off of each wall, and it was wide enough that I could turn round. Couldn't do any laps or anything, but it was big enough for the kids to think it was a real swimming pool, right?
Yeah.
Fuck it, we had it out one day, man, and I look out, fucking next door neighbour's cat drinking out it like a giant fucking cat bowl. Thought nothing of it. I was like, fine. Then later on when I looked out, obviously, the way this works is you inflate it and you fill it with water, and the water pushes the sides, and the inflatable at the top kind of holds the whole pie together. It went down, and I went, oh, that's went down a wee bit. It must have been because it's been out for a couple of days. And at 10 o'clock, a niggling thing in my head went, go out and check that. Completely flat, and the water was starting to trickle, and I'm like, Tasha, we've got to go out and empty this. She went, why? I goes, if we don't, it'll flood the whole garden. It would ruin everything in the garden, because that was a lot of water.
It's a lot of water,
5 hours it took to fill, man. I mean, thousands of litres. I went out, Andy, I had a 5 litre bucket, standard mop bucket.
Yep.
We were out there for 2 hours, backwards and forwards. Bucket into, just the drain at the side of the house. Tasha was using the basin, which is probably, maybe 3 litres? 3 litres of water in that. And I was 5 litres. 2 hours. 2 hours of that. To empty it, and even then it wasn't fully emptied. I had to empty like a good few litres. So I was really annoyed because it was such a good thing to have, and it stayed warm because we had a heat wave this week. So we're rethinking it, and obviously next door's just got one of those gazebo things, or a pagoda, whatever you want to call them. You can get them pretty cheap in B&M's just now. And these new ones you can zip along the bottom and the side, so it's like a tent almost. So we're thinking about putting the pool inside that and zipping it up at night so that cats can't get into it, basically.
So you're going to just buy another one then?
Well, my dad, I don't think he'll be able to, but my dad thinks he can fix this one with it. He bought puncture repair kit and some
that's what I said.
Gaffer tape.
Puncture repair kit.
And he thinks he'll be able to fix it. I don't know.
Yeah, he's fucking old school. He's going to fix that for you.
So if he does fix it, then what I'll do is when we come back from Avonmore, I'll buy one of those my neighbour's got, because he bought one and he got some outdoor couches. And he's got that at the back of his garden, and then in the middle he's got one of the cheaper sort of ones that's just like tie backs. It's one of those that the wind's probably going to blow it away. But I thought if we got one of those, you could easily sit.
It's going to end up in your garden the next storm.
But then Lexi's got a pool at the back, a trampoline at the very back of the garden that could end up in his garden the same way. So, but there's giant trees on that side of the garden, and on this side he's got his shed against my fence. So, no, I think I'm going to get one of those and put the pool inside it, and then just padlock it. And then that'll keep it free from cats. And the funny thing is, the neighbour down there's Alsatian jumped in the side of their pool and bust it. So They're not safe from any animal. But I was really annoyed. At least it wasn't more than £26. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
But what we figured as well was, if you're not using sterilising tablets, you have to change the water every 3 days. And
otherwise it gets all scummy, and you'll end up with frogs in it.
You can get a attachment at the side that's like a pool filter, and it like constantly refreshes whatever, so you can plug that in. But we'll wait.
Do you know what's going to be the like end result of all this? Right? I can see it.
Start raining.
No, I can see it already. You're going to end up with like a permanent swimming pool type thing in your back garden.
Yeah, I could see that coming because
that's like the end result. Like in 6 months, a year's time, you'll be like, that was great having that. Like, I wish we had that all the time.
Yeah, and see, to be honest, down the bottom where our trampoline is, behind the tree, you could totally dig that square out. You just dig it down, and you could get that made into a pool, no bother, easily.
Yeah.
And Tasha already had the idea, because you know how you can get those lazy spa things, kind of like a jacuzzi for like £150, £200. See, if you put that in the cat shed, you could have an indoor jacuzzi as well. So
yeah,
it's already got electricity, so we just need to literally put it in there. Because I said, why bother with couches and stuff? We've got like a table for the barbecue anyway that we can sit at. Why not just have like a spa in there, like the lazy spa, plug it in, job done.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, I looked on Amazon as well. Sorry, we will get to games, folks. But you can buy like actual pools there that you can put up yourself. And they come with like stairs and everything. These are like proper, you could do laps in them pools. They're about the same price as a PlayStation 5, which isn't too bad for what they are.
Yeah, for a fucking swimming pool, it's fine.
18 foot. Yeah.
You could do like one length. Like, that's me done.
You could swim a wee. Oh, what's 6 and 6? You could swim the length of yourself in a wee bit.
I could do one stroke and be at the end.
You're not fucking 17 foot.
I've got very long arms. I'll have you know. Look how long my arm is. You can't even see where it goes to.
I've met you before. Yeah. So this comes with like everything, and it looks pretty decent.
It'd be good for the kids, like, definitely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
For the price of it, I thought they'd be a lot more expensive than that. So see, what my thinking was, you could have the ladder, but see if you dug that into the ground, that'd be a lot better, and you wouldn't need to faff about so much. So if
but then you'd end up with like something in it.
No, you get a cover for it. Obviously, you buy a cover for the top of that. But yeah, I could see it going that way, because even the other day I really enjoyed, like, at first I just let the kids in it while it was filling up, and I put like their slide in. I think I showed you them going down the slide into it, like Leo not caring and Lexi kind of apprehensive. And that was Leo's first proper time in like a pool, shall we say. So once it was full, I had to go in with them because Leo's too wee. It was taller than his head. Like it was up to like Lexi's chin when she stood up. So I was sitting in it, and I was having a great time. And I was like, see, when the kids go to bed, I'm coming back out here, and then I couldn't be bothered because I'd burnt myself. Like, you can kind of see it there.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah,
totally burnt, and all the back of my neck and my head. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, on to games, man. I'm sure there was some games news I wanted to cover this week before we got into all the tasty subjects. First off, well, you pull them up on your phone because you're handy at that. On Thursday, Andy, since we're going to be broaching the subject, Resident Evil Netflix series is coming to our screens or devices. I'm very excited about this because apparently, I don't know how it can, but it follows the game's canon. Basically, the guy that made it said that everything that happens between Resident Evil 0 and 8 has happened in our universe. But Lance Reddick, or whatever the guy's name is, you know who he is? Lance Reddick. He was... He's in Quantum Break.
Is that the same guy that was in Horizon?
Yes.
Right, okay, yeah, I know you mean.
He plays Wesker.
Okay.
But I don't get it because he's a black guy and Wesker's a dead white guy. Spoilers for Resident Evil.
Well, I mean,
like Duke Nukem in the show, in the games, and if they said everything that happens canon, maybe he's a clone.
Could be. Like, I mean, from what I've played so far, every single person has been white in Resident Evil 1.
Yeah,
Every single one.
I even think it's the same in 2. I think
Yeah, there's very little diversity.
Carlos in Resident Evil 3 is Spanish. I know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Resident Evil 5, Shiva's obviously African, Chris's partner. But yeah, there's not a lot of diversity in the first Resident Evil at all. Zombies are playable characters.
No.
It does get better for that. But I'm interested to see because he's Wesker, unless he's like a relative of some sort. But as far as I knew, he was cast as...
Yeah, that's cool. You know, I do like that guy. Like, he's got a fucking cool voice.
He's so good.
Really cool voice.
And John Wick, he runs the front desk of the hotel, and he's so good in that. Like, a really good film anyway. But I'm curious because when they made that comment, I was like, I thought it was totally separate. And I'm like, I wonder how they're going to do this. And there's some other things as well that just didn't add up. But he's definitely said that for us, the games are canon for our show. He says, obviously, the original set of movies did their own thing, as you know. The CGI movies, they're all canon to the games because they kind of fill in the gaps. And then the new movie, Welcome to Raccoon City, kind of took Resident Evil 1 and 2 and combined it to one story. It kind of followed the path but did its own thing. So this is the first live action, according to the guy that made it, canon show, but he never said the word that's canon to the games. What he said is everything that happened in the games is canon to our show. So unless I don't know. But that means that there's got to be some references to what happened, or you know, because by the looks of it, well, what it says that it's doing is it's jumping between 2 time periods, like before the Umbrella incident. Obviously, you know, spoilers for a nearly 30-year-old game, but Raccoon City gets destroyed.
Oh my god, I've not got that far yet. What?
Well, you're like 2 games away from that anyway. But like basically, they have to destroy it, but it doesn't contain the virus. And this is set before that and after it, like the return to Raccoon City. So I'm guessing when they go back to Raccoon City in the future, it's maybe after 8, the Resident Evil 8, and then the other set of the shows before Resident Evil 0, I'd imagine. It's going to be interesting because I've seen some pretty good reviews as well, and the last one I just read there says it stays faithful to the video game, so it must be canon by the sounds of it. It'll be interesting what they do with it. But yeah, it starts on Thursday, and well, since we last were here, I finished a Resident Evil. I finally finished Resident Evil Revelations.
Nice. Which
I've had on 4 systems now. It originally came out as a 3DS exclusive. Played it there. It was great. It was a brilliant game for the 3DS. It was the first one to use the D-pad, you know, the D-pad add-on thing that came with it.
Oh, C-stick. The C-stick thing, yeah.
And then it came to the Wii U, and I had it on the Wii U, and it was great because you could use your tablet there as the map. And then I bought it the PS3 when they released the HD version. I also own it on the Xbox, and also that's 5. And I decided to pick up the Switch when it arrived there because it feels good handheld. Graphically really good. It's not as difficult as say like Resident Evil Remake or Resident Evil 2 or 3. Actually, I finished 2 Resident Evil since we last were on here, I believe. So Resident Evil Revelations, I was stuck. I was kind of close to the end. It was a part where I'm trying to find Chris, and I end up getting an antidote made up, and the ship floods. And on the way there, Andy, as I said, you have to walk through a laser gate maze, and if you touch the laser gate a couple of times, you're dead. And then as the ship floods and you leave the room, the laser gate's invisible. And I'm like, for fuck's sake. And I kept trying to swim around this laser maze, and I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do it. And then I started trying to map it out by like getting killed at different places to see what the turns were. And then, Andy, I realised the solution to this complex puzzle. Oh, it was ever so difficult.
What was it?
Swim above the gate. Just swim over it. Swim right over it and into the door at the other side. Whereas I was trying to navigate this invisible maze all the way to the door, you literally just swim over it. I was frustrated. I actually looked up invisible laser gate solution, and there was no answer. And I'm like, no one's done it. No one's done it. So I literally had to go into the guide, and I'm like, I don't care. I need step-by-step directions through this maze. And at that section, it says, once the ship's flooded, head out the room and swim over the laser gate. And I'm like, I didn't even factor that in to my game. I was trying so hard to navigate a maze you couldn't even see, and every time the lasers were still active, so you died. So I was dying over and over and over and over, and I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. It's not possible. And like I said, no one had the solution online. I was like, has anyone finished this game? So I looked up the guide, and like it literally, it's so simple. It's a 2-second thing. Once you exit the room, swim up and over the laser gate. And I didn't even figure it. I didn't even consider that. I just assumed it was one of those tricky Resident Evil puzzles that some of them do have, like that aren't obvious. And I'm like, there must be a way around this. I must be doing something wrong. There must be a gap that I'm not seeing. Oh, there is. It's above it. So anyway, I really like that game. It's basically set after. It's after 3 anyway. And it's before 5. So somewhere between 3 and 5. 4 doesn't really affect the outcome of this, I don't think. So I could be wrong. It might be between 4 and 5.
Right. I don't know. Who is it that's in?
Chris and Jill. Chris and Jill. Like, Jill's in Resident Evil 3, you're Jill and you're leaving Raccoon City and you decide you need to find Chris. So this game, you're trying to find Chris. You know, because after Resident Evil 1, you don't see Chris again in the main series till 5.
Right.
Because your first game, you're Chris and Jill. Your second game, you're Claire, Chris's sister, and Leon. In the third one, you're just Jill and Carlos for small sections. In 4, you're Leon again. And then 5, finally, you are Chris and Sheva. In 6, I can't really remember them all, but you play a few characters.
Right.
And then 7, you're the Nathan, I think his name is, 7 and 8. So yeah, Resident Evil Revelations, great game. Definitely, as Andy, we'll move on to what you've been playing in a second in Resident Evil, believe it or not. But I would definitely recommend playing it because it's not as complex. You're not going to be bashing your head over a table. It's not difficult unless you get stuck at the maze. You forget what I said because it's more on the action side, like Resident Evil 5, but it's really good towards the story. And Resident Evil Revelations 2 I've not even started yet anywhere, but I plan on starting that. And the other one I finished finally was Resident Evil 3 Remake. Good. Better than the original in my mind.
Nice.
These are now the canon versions, like the originals now no longer count, so it goes 0, 1 remake, 2 remake, 3 remake, and then 4 remake will be next year. And I would assume they're going to go back and do 5 and 6 and then call it a day. And hopefully after they've done 6, they go back and do 1 again, because Andy will discuss that in a minute. But I played a bit of 1 after I finished Resident Evil 3. It's still kind of stuck in the old controls, but we'll talk about that more in detail in a minute. But Resident Evil 3 plays like a fucking dream. The PlayStation 5 upgrade, I showed Andy a screenshot from it. Well, I took a photo on my phone. It didn't even do it justice. The game looks phenomenal. It's got a fixed 60 FPS throughout. It's got nice ray tracing, especially with all the streets of Raccoon City with the lights and things. And I really like what they did at the end of this game. It's different from the ending of Resident Evil 3. And I now want to know more stuff that I assume they're going to tie in to future games. But they've done a good way of... Because in Resident Evil 4, it's not just it's not zombies, it's Las Plagas you're fighting, which are the things you've probably seen with the like sort of plant octopus arms coming out their mouth, like they go and these things come out their mouth and it's kind of like a tentacle. I had to fight them in Resi 3 and I'm sure they're in the Resident Evil 2 remake, but I need to go back to that. And it's a good way of kind of tying everything in the game together, because Resident Evil 4 kind of retcon stuff that the T-virus kind of came from the flower. And the flower was like a plague, Las Plagas, and that was this thing that they kind of moved like zombies, but once you shot them, they kind of come back, but they've got like a arm thing coming out of the mouth,
right?
Like,
okay,
coming at you. So yeah, it was nice. So Resident Evil 3. I need to speak to it about somebody that's played the original, because I know you haven't, but I might just look up. I'll probably just look up. But like there's parts of it I'm like, this didn't happen in the original, but I wasn't pissed off. And the Resident Evil 3 is my favourite Resident Evil out of the originals. I loved Nemesis. It was the first one to use the DualShock feature with the vibrate, and I always remember it was the first Resident Evil I got a fright from, because I'd played 1, I'd played 2.
Really? Oh my god.
Yeah. Resident Evil 1,
Ali has balls of steel.
It's not a scary game. Silent Hill was scary.
Fucking terrifying.
Resident Evil 2, I never ever finished. It was a long ass game. I've still never fully completed either Resident Evil 2. I know the story. So, no, tell a lie. By fully complete, I didn't finish Jill's at Claire's disc because it was like the same game twice, basically.
Yeah.
So I never fully completed it. So I finished Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. I just haven't finished 4 and 8 or 0, but or Revelations 2. But like 3's so good that I wish it was longer, but the original story wasn't that long either. Like Resident Evil 2 is definitely a longer game. But the thing is, if you come to, once you finish Resident Evil 1, Andy, you've got a choice because Resident Evil 3 technically takes place before Resident Evil 2. Because you go to some places in the city before Leon and Claire get to them.
No, I'm going to play them in order, like 1, 2, 3, and I'll play 4 next year.
Yeah. I can't wait for 4, like, because I've always wanted to finish it. I still think my best version of the game is in the Wii, where you can do that to swipe your knife instead of having to select it, because it's so convenient. See, instead of having to equip it or anything, all you do with the Wiimote is that, and Leon will stab. So see, when you run out of bullets, you literally just do that, and it works as the knife. So it's a shame that that's not the version that came to Switch, or I would just buy that version and play through it. But now that there's the remake, there's no point in playing that original version. And 5 and 6 and 7 I'd already finished. But Resident Evil 1, Andy, the remake of, I put it on, played it through to just before I was about to swap the fake key. Took me maybe a couple hours. I have played this before. This is not a comment on your progress, but the game, I've never finished Resident Evil 1 remake. I always felt I've finished the original. You know why I need to, but now that I've finished Resident Evil 3 remake, it's kind of spurred me on because I'm like, they have changed a bit more than I initially thought. Like, I knew about the changes, and 90% of the puzzles in remakes different from the original, but the story now, I need to go back and finish this one as well. So I started it on the Switch, and you know what? It looks better on the Switch than on the big screen because it's smaller. Like, older games look better on handheld.
It looks okay. Like, I'm playing on PS5. It's
it doesn't
look
PS4
awful,
version. But it's the movement, man. Like, the movement.
Yeah, it's so clunky.
It's above the originals, but only just. But I mean, this game's now what, 22-year-old? Like, it's 20-odd year old.
Do you know what buckles my mind playing this game?
Boggles.
No, buckles. It buckles my mind. My mind is buckled. Not boggles. It's different. Boggle is a game. It's different. But what?
I think the saying's boggles the mind.
No, but my saying is buckled. Like, you can be buckled over with laughter. Like,
you can, but I've never buckled my mind. I've boggled.
Well, this buckled my mind.
Okay.
Right. So, so see when you're running, right, running along, and then you get to a point, and the angle switches, right?
Yeah, still get that.
And so, like, you're using your analog stick and you're pushing forward to run forward, and then the angle switches and you're now running towards the camera, but you're still pushing forward.
Change the direction.
You change the direction, and then she turns around, and then you go back through, and then it's like you're just going like this back and forth. Oh my fucking 100%.
God! That boggles my mind, like, as well, because like in the new games, obviously,
I just can't compute it. I can't.
No, my brain doesn't do it either. Like, so in Revelations doesn't even have that because it's got the newer control system, right? So Revelations 1 and 2, like, but Resident Evil 2 and 3, like, it's you control the camera, you look all around, whereas in Resident Evil 1, it's no camera thing, it's just this is a fixed angle, and that was the whole thing. And back then it worked because it allowed them to make the scenery, I can't remember the name of it, but they've done it for Final Fantasy VII as well. You know, is it pre-drawn background or something? Pre-rendered background?
Pre-rendered backgrounds, and there's a lot of culling involved as well.
Yeah.
Where there's like anything you're not seeing is gone.
Yeah.
So from the game's load space,
it was a trick back then to make it look good. And I mean, this exact game was on the GameCube when you think about it, Andy. So it's impressive what they did at the time. But because these dated systems are still in the game, in fact, it's just the controls, really. Like, everything else is fine.
The controls.
They update the control. They could probably do a and leave it as it is, and just add the new control scheme. That's what I would say. Give it a PS5 upgrade. Do that. Polish maybe parts of it. But see, the aiming as well. Like, as much as I don't like.
Oh my god, yeah.
Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6. The reason I didn't like them is because it came away from the horror. It just became an action game. Like, the people that say 4 is the best video game ever are the same people that say 5 ruined Resident Evil. It's like, but 5's more of what 4 gave you. You loved the action, so Capcom went, they love this game, let's do it again. And that's what happened. And then 6 just was insane. 6 was, I didn't hate 6 like everybody else did, by the way. So just putting that out there.
We'll see if I get to those.
You will. You 100% will. And the good thing is, from 5 onwards, we can co-op. Like,
oh, nice.
5, we can play I played 5 with my mate Jamie all the way through. It's actually recommended to do that in 5 because Shiva is kind of stupid. And like, she's meant to be a partner.
If she's the AI.
Yeah, but she will use a rocket launcher in the face of a normal zombie, and you know how you save that for like the tyrant fights or the nemesis.
Yeah.
If you go, oh, here you go, Shiva, here, have this shotgun, she'll be like, cool, and it'll be like a spider, and she'll be like using grenade rounds and everything. It's like, oh, and then the tyrant comes and she's like, oh, here, have a first aid spray. It's like, thanks, what am I going to help you? Have this knife. So it's better playing that through. 6 wasn't as bad for that. 6, you didn't. I played through that myself and it wasn't as bad. But 5, you definitely need to play that through with a partner. But by the time you get to 5, they may have announced the remaster, or they'll have commented on whether they're doing 5 or not next. Because obviously you're not going to touch 5 till 4's out, and that's not till next March anyway. So it'll probably take you from now to then to finish Resident Evil 1, 2, 3 the way that you're playing. So like, when you get to 4, it's going to probably be longer than 2, which is the longest out of the 3 remakes that's out just now. So yeah, by the time you finish 4, they will have at least said that 5's in the works. So you'll be able to judge whether we just play that or we wait for the new one to play that together. But I definitely think playing co-op's the way to do that game. I didn't hate that game either. I think there's a stupid part where Chris Redfield does punch a boulder. like I don't just mean like a...
That's a meme. I've seen that as a meme,
punches a whole boulder. And Chris Redfield goes from what you're seeing...
It cracks, doesn't it?
Cracks and hat, yeah. So you're going from Chris Redfield, he's built like Robbie Ammo in the movie. That's what he looks like. And then all of a sudden, he's like, beefcake. And they can't decide on what Chris looks like because some games pull.
It's like a fucking Street Fighter character or something, isn't he?
Yeah, he looks like Ryu. Like Ryu recently, had chest that size. Have you seen that? It's like Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
So like, yeah. I mean, it is what it is. Like, it's. I was thinking the other night, I'm surprised it's not crossed over with Dead Rising like sometimes, but because that's Capcom as well. But
I don't know. Resident Evil's a wee bit more serious.
A bit more.
Yeah. They have some fun stuff in there, but like mostly it's like a serious game.
But yeah, the only other thing before I just hand you the reins of Resident Evil is it is from a time period where it wasn't, hey, this is the way you're going. Ding, ding. Objective. It's a case of find the map, have a look at where you've not been and explore. That was what it was back then.
It gave me one objective once where it's like it brought the map up and it's like you should go here on the map. Like, this is where you need to go. Because it was when I met this guy, I think it was Richard, and it's like, oh, I needed like some serum. And I'm like, I was already in that room, it's fucking way over there, and there was no serum to pick up when I was there. But like, now there is a serum that I can pick up, so I had to go track all the way back over there, go pick up the serum, and then come back to him to give him the serum, and then he was dead.
Yeah. So, but in general, like most games, it'll have a route in front of you sometimes, or an arrow that you can bring up, or like even in Resident Evil 3, it's like here, kind of this way,
or like on the mini map or whatever, there's like a marker or whatever. Or maybe there's nothing on the mini map, but like it's on the actual map. There's like, oh, you need to go here, but there is nothing like that in this game. Popping that one bit.
It's from 21 years ago, from a time where it's like, here's your game, your quest is to escape the mansion. Figure it out. Like when you think about it, Zelda still does this to this day. Breath of the Wild doesn't hold your hand particularly. It gives you dots because it was a bigger game. But in general, it's like, explore, find out what to do. But it's kind of jaunting, jarring, whatever word fits. It's kind of jarring in a game like this day and age for you to go, what do you mean explore everywhere? Just go in and out of rooms till I find what I need. And it's like, yep, that's what we did back then. Okay, so even for me, at some parts, I'm kind of like, I've been handheld for over the past decade now.
Yeah,
A
yeah, yeah.
pointer would help
Not
because
used to this.
it turns out sometimes you can go in and out of rooms, up and downstairs, out the back, in the back, down the stairs, and it's like, oh yeah, see that door you tried once and went, fuck it, I can't open it. It's that door now that you open, but it's not highlighted or anything. You just have to
Yeah.
trial and error, go in a room and go, oh, I can open this door now. I forgot all about it because I only came in this door once, and all it was for was a first aid spray. There was nothing else in it, so I forgot this room existed.
It's also a bit kind of it's a bit of a maze, that
It's
house.
designed that way though. That's story. That's
Yeah.
narratively designed that way.
It's quite clever the way they do it as well, because like some of the angles they sort of like switch it round to face
Yeah.
the other way, so you think like I'm going up here and I want to go left, but actually because of the way they show you the angle, you actually want to go right
Yeah.
to get into the left hand side room, which is very strange.
Yeah.
Like the mini map is better. The map is better for that because at least it shows you where your character is at any given time, and it shows you what direction they're facing in. So like I'm constantly like pulling the map up to be like, right, I need to go into that room, and I'll pull up the map and I'm like, yes, this is the right way. I need to go along there. Like, oh no, I've gone too far. Come back one. But yeah, I do like this game. Like apart from the slightly clunky movement and the shooting,
Yeah, I was very
I
surprised when you
like
said
everything
how
else.
far you were getting into it because I never pestered you this time. Like I never said, Andy,
Yeah.
just play it, which I've been doing for years, as you know. So ever since you conquered the zombie fear, I was like, you need to play Resi. Like I've loved Resi all along, and like I could see the flaws in this one as well. But when you mentioned me the other night, going, I'm really liking it, apart from and all those things, I'm
Yeah.
like, but that they're all acceptable because they are dated at this point, but
Yeah.
they're not totally unplayable. Where it's like I can't play this. It just the one, never mind the aiming, which is awful. It's like that is all you get. Whereas in
Yeah.
the new games, you get a total aim. Whereas this is just up, down, or middle, and like
Yeah.
it's random. If you can get a headshot, you have to wait till they're close enough and kind of shoot up, and then shooting down as well. You don't know because there's no lock on or targeting or anything.
Mhm.
Um,
Well, there is some kind of lock on, like
oh, you're
when
playing
you
very
pull it.
easy, yeah.
Yeah, so like, there's some kind of lock on with that. So, and you know what? Like I'm playing on very easy, right? I still think it's challenging. The zombies still
Challenge.
get me.
It's
Like
challenging.
they haven't killed me in a while, but like they still can get up to me and do damage to me. Like especially the crimson ones.
And I
Like
told you
them
last
ones are
night, dodge the
fast.
ones you don't need to kill. That's why you didn't answer. You're like, I can't dodge any of them. Crimson ones are faster and they take more shots to kill. But once a crimson
Yeah,
one's dead, it's dead.
it's dead. Yeah,
But you're
which is
better burning.
good. Yeah,
Because ammo's
but
limited. It's survival horror. It's not action until
so
game 4.
so the ammo, like I was having a big issue with the ammo at the very beginning. This
Yeah.
I remember, but now I've got loads of bullets.
Yeah.
Like I've been around and I've picked up loads. I've got like 80 bullets for my
It's
gun.
it's
So I'm like,
it was the
this
same
is
in the
fine.
original version of the game as well. At the beginning, it's really like so the panic sets in. It's like I've got 5 bullets. There's at least 4 zombies in here. What the fuck they're
Yep.
doing? It's
Yep.
survival horror, and it's meant to teach you don't always kill every enemy and don't always take on confrontations you can't. If you enter a room and there's a big thing and you've got no weapons, you've missed a room and you need to explore. And it's clever the way that it does it. It's storytelling that way, but at the same time, there's definitely some dated fucking sections in it. But I need to go back and finish that one, but I'm kind of stuck between do I finish Resident Evil 1 remake or do I plow through Revelations 2? I'm not sure at the moment because obviously I've got other games I've played. But anyway, I'll let you finish Resident Evil and I'll get back onto my stuff because
Yeah,
I'm so
this
happy
game
that you're
even
liking it.
yeah, but like this game, even though right, it's dated and like the controls are a bit shit nowadays, and like the graphics are not up to like modern day standards, I'm still fucking well on edge like playing this game. Like it still gives me the fear, like the whole way through playing it. Like,
You won't be able to.
like honestly,
It'll be
it's
a
like
struggle to get you through Resident Evil 2. 3's not as bad for me. And then on. But see, when you get to 7, because this is the goal, people, is to get Andy playing 7. You won't
in
be able
VR,
to.
in VR, yeah,
I even think in VR it was too scary. I'll admit that. I had to play,
yeah,
if you remember Resident Evil 7, I had to play during the day. Do you remember this?
yeah, yeah.
And I see the minute it started getting dark, I'm like, I cannot. That game got me, and it got me bad. I'm like, I can't do this. I tried out in VR once when I worked in Irvine. I was like, no, it's so good in VR that it's like I can't do this because it's done with that haze, so that the kind of
Yep.
stretched graphics kind of look okay because there's the smog and stuff. So it generally feels like you're in a creepy fucking tingling wind chimes, wooden old American colonial style house. It's fucking that game's terrifying, man. I I think two's scarier than one, but I wouldn't even call two scary. But three, I wouldn't say it was scary. Three did. I'll tell you this before. I know I keep saying I'll tell you this, but then you can play. But then, so Resident Evil 3 gave me a scare once, but I don't even want to tell you where it is because I want you to be like, "Oh fuck, I didn't know that could happen." It got me one time, and I don't mean I was like, I can't play this anymore. It was kind of more of a, oh shit, okay, right, fine. But once I was aware that that could happen, I was like, right, okay, I need to do this now. Not in a sigh way, but I realised once it could happen, I was fine. But what are you finding scary about this? Is it the atmosphere or?
So partly it's
Zombies,
the atmosphere, partly it's the zombies coming back to life even after I've killed them. Because like I've killed quite a few zombies at this point, and like
Do you
I'm
not
not
just
sure what
hate hearing?
ones.
Sorry, it's Resident Evil. Do you not just hate
I'm-
hearing and you can't see anything?
Yes, and there's a bit where there's like crows that make like a similar noise, except the
up.
crows don't do anything, but they're just up high.
Word of warning: they don't do anything yet. And crows,
For fuck's sake!
they're in near one of the safe
Like in a
rooms.
raft or something. Yeah.
And when you go up the stairs, they're all like, yeah.
Yeah. Great. So they're going to come into play at some point. Amazing. Can you shoot them right now? No.
No.
Fuck. But what really got me was something that got me fucking 20 years ago, or more than 20 years ago. Dogs jumping through windows.
It's obvious you hear the barks.
Like, I did not expect them to jump through at the point that they jumped through, and I fucking shat myself.
And the dogs.
The dog's jumping through the window, yep. Did not expect it at all.
Imagine
and
at
like,
that point your dog jumped in your lap in the house. You would
Oh,
have
yeah. But no, I'm liking the game. Like, I like the puzzles and stuff like that. I just got the shotgun.
What are you playing it on? Sorry.
PS5. So like PS4 version on PS5 is just like.
I thought in my head it was a Switch for some reason.
No, not on Switch, not on Switch. I think it's actually on PlayStation Plus, one of them ones, or it came to Plus at one point because like I owned it.
So. Plus. I've got it for
yeah
that on PlayStation.
Yeah, but yeah, like so. I just did the bit where I got the shotgun, and I missed it the first time.
Is that the Joe Savage bit?
Yeah, so you're supposed to get it before.
That's
you're supposed to get it.
Meme.
So you're supposed to get it before you go back to the main hall and meet what's his name, Barry.
Barry, yeah.
But I didn't do that. Like I went and met Barry first, and then I had to go and explore around more. And I found like the broken shotgun.
Yeah.
And then you replace the real shotgun with the broken shotgun. And then that trap thing never triggers.
But then you don't get the Jill sandwich scene, which is hilarious. You're almost a Jill sandwich.
So I didn't get that scene.
Honestly, you need to watch a video. Obviously, don't watch spoilers, but the video of like the classic lines from Resident Evil 1 because it was so badly written. They've kind of redone them for this one, but they left that in because it was just so bad.
I mean, that was in the movie, like the recent movie.
They add it into the movie as well because she takes the sandwich off a Wesker and goes, "It's now a Jill sandwich," and eats it.
Yeah, which was kind of funny.
It was good. I hope they do a sequel to that one. I don't understand why people didn't like it. It was it's a movie. It worked. But no, Resident Evil 1, I'm interested because Lisa Trevor, that you've not met, she's in the movie. And they added her to the remake version. She's not in the original at all. Not at all. She's not in the original at all. She's a brand new... Well, she's not brand new. She's obviously in this one.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I need to finish it now at some point just to see where the stories went. Because they're obviously doing it for a reason so that they can have a coherent like story and adding things that they're going to use down the line. So
yeah, I'm liking it. I've saved 11 times so far, which is it concerns me because I have a limited. That's probably what makes it scarier because I have these limited number of saves, and I'm like, if I go and progress a little bit more, then like I don't want to lose the like half hour of progress that I've done, like to get back to this point. So I want to go back and save now, like every time. Like after about 10 minutes, if I do anything that's like, oh, this is like a new thing, like, oh, I've picked up a shotgun, oh, I found a grenade launcher, like I immediately want to go back and save.
Yeah, but Resident Evil, up until probably 4, you kind of have to get used to that. Do I save now? Uh, and you just have to take the hit. I think 3 and 2 is more generous with the ribbons. I don't even know if you need to use them in 2 in certain difficulty levels, but like 1, the remake, I definitely found. Oh shit, I've not. But I was playing it normal, so I don't really know. Like, there's still a limited amount on easy. Like, there's still not infinite saves,
Yeah.
which I think they should have on very easy mode anyway. Like,
Yes.
because it is
It
kind
would
of
just make me
nerve-wracking.
feel so much nicer about the game. But I suppose that kind of takes away from like part of the scariness of it, I think. Like if they did that for this game anyway. I
Yeah.
don't know what it's like for the other games because I think they're a bit more atmospheric because the graphics are better and stuff. But
Well, and I didn't really feel. I kind of feel that they stepped away from it in the remake of 2 and 3. Well, I didn't finish the remake of 2 yet, but like from what I played, they kind of stepped away from the limited feel of them.
that's
Definitely
good.
compared to the remake.
Yeah.
And I can't remember in 2 because obviously it's been a while since I played it, but in 3 it auto saves in new areas as well. So you've got an auto save if you
That's
die.
good. Thank fuck.
So, and Resident Evil 1 remake, I don't think they had it. Like, and I know in the original
Nope.
they didn't have it at all. I can't. There's no, but I'm sure it said on very easy mode with Jill there's some like 75 ink ribbons for the entire game, which is more than enough. If you need them.
Yeah, I mean, I've saved 11 times and I've got 17 ink ribbons in my box right now. So
You've got enough. You could finish the game in that realistically. Like it's not as see how the house feels big. Like they do a good job of. It's not really big
yeah.
when you break it down. You've got round the back. You've got the dining room. You've got the side rooms, and then you've got upstairs with the statues. That's it, man. You've got everything there that you can put together to get to the lab. Like, because have you been behind the stairs in the main hall? Have you seen there's an elevator?
There's a great thing
That's-
there, yeah,
that's
but I can't go there yet, yeah.
That's basically where you're headed, sort of thing. And then the lab's a bigger area, slightly bigger, but it doesn't feel as maze like, if you know what I mean, because it's not as there's not like a room here and like you said a room in the left, but it's actually right and stuff. The lab's more like white, and you've seen the movies, so you know what the lab looks like. And from what I remember, I don't want to ruin anything. Don't want to ruin.
Do you know what I haven't. So I've never ever seen that because I played Resident Evil 1 back in the day. Rented it from Blockbuster a few times, and we never got past like the mansion at all. We never really even got past the dogs. Like, see, to the point where I'm at now in the game,
Yeah.
I'm way past where I ever was back in the day.
That's cool though. That's good.
Yeah, and I'm actually enjoying it now. And like, I didn't enjoy it like when I played it back in the day. Apart from like, it was fun to get scared.
The original version had worse controls than this, like way worse controls. It was literally like, and you literally ran like that.
Yeah.
But the worst thing in this, you're 100% right, is if the camera angle shifts and you're running towards the screen, you automatically swap to, like, say you're holding up on the the stick, you automatically switch to down if you're running towards you, because in new games that's what you would have to do. But see, in this, if you swap to down, it's like, oh, he wants to go the opposite way, and it's like, I don't.
Yeah.
But no,
and that doesn't really like make a difference in a lot of the games that you played that were like this back in the day, like. Because most of them were RPGs that did this.
Yeah.
And that was fine because you weren't like running away from zombies and shit. But in this game, this is an action game. So you run away from a fucking zombie and then you run straight back into him. Like, oh shit.
There's definitely... You're going to have issues with the hunters. Like, I don't think there's lickers in this one.
Right.
But zombies are at least slow. So...
Is this a thing that comes into it later? A hunter?
You're not too far away from the first hunter.
Oh, great. I've got a shotgun and I've got a grenade launcher, so...
I wouldn't use a grenade launcher on them.
Oh, okay. I'll use my shotgun.
Use a shotgun. Because I don't want to ruin anything that's coming. I generally... I don't... Like I said, if you need to use a guide. But the guide doesn't spoil stuff. You know, because unless, like, some guides are dickish, but most guides that we read don't spoil it. It's just like, okay, go into this room and then a cutscene will play, and that's all it says.
Yeah. I've got an IGN guide that I've been consulting when I need to, because sometimes it's just you just don't know where to go now. So I'm like, where do I go next? And now I kind of know the layout and I know where all the places are within what I've explored so far. Like I can understand the guide.
Yeah.
Whereas like a few days ago, I had no idea And like when I played it a couple of weeks ago, I was like, I don't know where I am. Like even in looking through the guide, I'm like, no idea where I am in this guide. I cannot fucking find where I am. Like, fuck this. But now I've explored around and I've learned where everything is and from what I've seen so far. I kind of get the gist of the mansion. I think.
Because see,
I don't think I'm nearly done with the mansion
maybe an hour or two. It
for now,
depends.
anyway.
I don't know how you're
Yeah.
playing this, but I know how you play most games, and like I would say an hour or two, maybe of solid play. I don't mean like an hour of dying or an hour of like going back to it. I mean like if you sat down for 2 straight hours and played, you'd probably be in the lab. You should be furthered now. See, these are the sort of games that are designed though to be played more than once, as you know, and like
Yeah.
Darren, obviously like Darren's one of our mates. Like Darren, he's done the achievements for like finish Resident Evil in 2 hours. Like see those insane ones, or finish it with only the knife, finish it without saving. Like he's done all this stuff, man. He plays games till they're dead.
Imagine how on edge you'd be trying to finish this game without saving.
Andy, there's a
Fuck
mode in
that.
Resident Evil Remake you can unlock where every enemy is invisible.
What?
Yep, if you finish it in hardcore mode, which is above normal and difficult, like you finish it in hardcore mode, you unlock invisible enemy mode, and it's to challenge people that know the game so well. Like
Fair enough. Yeah.
all the enemies are difficult, but they're all invisible. So
It's crazy. Are the bosses invisible as well?
every enemy in the game is invisible.
Fucking hell. No. Oh my, imagine how much more scary that would be with these dogs coming at you. Like, Jesus. No,
You
thank
see
you.
the windows breaking, and it's like, where are they?
I will be very, very happy to complete
To
this
just
game.
finish it. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
like
I
of
think
all
you can finish
credits.
it, no bother. I'll give you a couple of weeks and you'll finish this.
And I'm only doing like Jill playthrough as well. I'm not going to play through the game again as the Chris.
You
Not
don't
doing
need
that.
to. It's different for one, right?
Because it's the same game in it, but the Jill's easier basically.
Jill just goes right and Chris goes left, but you explore the same house. But in Resident Evil 2, it's two separate. I think you still have to do a Jill and Leon playthrough in 2 in the remake. But I think it kind of swaps you. Whereas in 2, you were playing in two different sides of the city.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. So it was technically two different campaigns
Yeah,
because you
yeah.
met different people, you done different things. Like Leon
That's
met
cool.
Ada and stuff. But the problem is, some of the areas were the same. And what you figured out is, see if you had raided the place and took all the bullets, those bullets weren't there for your second playthrough. So you had to, once you realised, you were like, okay, I can't take all these. I need to leave some for when I'm playing through as Claire.
Yeah.
And I think it applies in Resident Evil 2 Remake as well, because I'm sure it swaps you between them rather than making you play through as Leon then play through. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I played it. I'll let you know later.
That's
but
cool. Yeah.
in Resident Evil 1, no, it's the exact same game. It doesn't matter. It's not like it's two campaigns with two different cutscenes and stuff like that in two different areas. It's literally Chris first goes into the dining room, or Chris goes to the right and Jill goes the opposite. Plus Jill gets like a lockpick and extra bag space.
Use a lockpick, yeah.
She's stronger and stuff. Well, she's not stronger, she's got a bit extra health or whatever. Like, it's Jill's easy mode, basically.
Yeah.
I'm
fine with that.
no, but now I'm at a stage in gaming where I'm like, see, if I need to throw the fucking game down a level, I've no qualms. Like, unless it's God of fucking War, I'm like, I've no reason to turn this down. It's not difficult. It just keeps beating me. I'm done with that game though. But like, talking of bringing things down a level, I'll go into my next game because we've talked Resident Evil for a while now. So as you know, I like Xenoblade Chronicles. I had it on the Wii, had it on the 3DS, never finished it. I bought Xenoblade Chronicles 2 day one in the Switch, loved it, never finished it. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 gets announced, and I was like, oh, this looks fucking good, because it does. It looks great, and it ties both games together. I'm like, this is so exciting. And I'm like, it's a story game. It's not like I can just skip to it. It's not Final Fantasy. These games have connections.
Yep.
So I bit the bullet and I got Xenoblade Chronicles 1. Got it quite cheap at $30 off of, I think it was Game Collection or 365, one of those. $30. I was like, fine. I'm like, I need to snag Xenoblade 2 because it's harder to get hold of now. And it's always been expensive. It's always been 50, 60 quid. I'm like, it's only going to go up on second-hand sellers when Xenoblade Chronicles 3 comes out or comes closer because people are going to want it more. So I picked it up. I'm going to return it to where I got it because I'm not happy with the condition. It came in because I bought physical on purpose because I could have easily bought this digital. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I'm not playing that anytime soon, but I'm making such good progress in Xenoblade Chronicles 1 that I might be playing it sooner than I think. I don't think I'm
Nice.
going to be ready for launch day because I can't go Xenoblade Chronicles 1 straight into 2. And I've learned my lesson for years.
No,
When I
don't
did,
do that.
remember I did Zelda and I didn't play
Yeah, yeah,
any RPGs for a whole year. I'm like,
yeah.
I was done. And even going back to an RPG then, I've never enjoyed them as much as I used to. Being honest, I didn't.
Because you played like what 6 Zelda
In
games
a
in a
row,
row or
one
something
after the
the
other.
same year.
Yep, yep. And that was when I had time and no children. So I played them over the course of 3-4 months, maybe. And that was me done. So, Xenoblade Chronicles 1's really, really fucking good. This is a true remaster. It's not just an HD spit shine. This is like Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Like, oh, they've done some work here style. A couple of cutscenes have been iffy. I can tell they didn't fully upgrade those. But your
Yeah.
general character models, the way it looks, phenomenal. It looks good on screen, but it looks really good on the TV because you know some Switch games are weird like that for some reason. Like stabilizes the frame rate, makes it look better when it's on the
Mhm.
dock. This is one of those. But even for you, because I know you're interested in playing these down the line, I would say try it on the TV as well, even though you don't like because you can't play it on any other console. Xenoblade's exclusive to Switch. So you play Shulk. I don't want to spoil any of the story really, but I'm the last time I was gripped in an RPG like this was probably Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy
Okay.
7. That sort
That's
of
quite a
level.
long time ago, yeah. Cool.
Being honest, 12 never gripped me. Um, I
Oh,
played
12
it.
got me, man. Like,
I
yeah.
played it, but I didn't get as invested. 15 was okay, but I wasn't as invested. But I just remember the levels of hype I had for 10, and it reminded me of Final Fantasy 7. This is similar. Like Shulk looks like Cloud. Like, see if you make a character kind of look like Cloud, you're already winning from my RPG like ratings in my head.
Yeah.
So you're playing as him. You've got your party. You've got your friends. It's not overly complex, really, when you get used to the system. It's kind of more Kingdom Hearts than Final Fantasy. It's not a full action RPG though.
Mm.
You still have to select a move and move about. So it's
Mhm.
not like Kingdom Hearts where you push and you swing. So it's not full action RPG. It's more Final Fantasy 12. Where you select the move, but it doesn't automatically happen as you push the button,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which is fine. It's an RPG. You get different moves for the Monado, which is the cool ass looking red sword with the blue, and finding out the history about that and what it was used for and stuff, and like where these enemies actually came from. I'm further now than I ever have been in the game,
Nice.
but there was a reason for that, and it was my stubbornness. Like I got to a part, and I remember I kept dying at it, and I'm like, I can't beat this boss. I can't do it.
Mhm.
And I'm pretty sure the Wii version never gave me the option, but the 3DS one did. And it was like, you seem to be having trouble with this boss. Would you like to drop to casual mode? And I was like, no, I fucking don't. No, I don't. And I just never play the game. See, now I'm like, do you know what? I would like to drop to casual mode because I can't do this.
Yeah.
And do you know what? It's made the game a much better experience for me. It's not
Yep.
too challenging. It's just at the level I want it to be. Because for an RPG these days, I want to enjoy my fucking story and enjoy the combat. And if the combat's pissing me off, I won't play it. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think it matters what difficulty you play games on. Like, it doesn't fucking matter.
no, not these days. But I had a thing when I was younger. It was like normal minimum, normal minimum, normal minimum, and
Like, you used to play games on hard, I remember.
yeah, I did. See now it's like I don't have time to fucking fuck about. I
Yeah,
just
because
need.
it takes longer to learn the game and get good at it. But yeah, we play games less these days probably
Yeah,
than what we did when we were younger. So
definitely.
we don't have time to learn every system for every game, and
Nope.
there's so many more games now as well.
And there's more coming out, so it's just if this is going to make my life easier and I can finish a game and enjoy it, then fine. Don't get me wrong. If I dropped it down to casual and it made it too easy, I'd have reloaded the last save and went, I just need to get good.
Mm.
But I got to a boss. His name's Zord, XORD. And I guarantee you when you play
Right.
this, and I don't care what Fraser says, you're going to have to look up how to beat him because he's the first boss you come across where it's like, I'm not doing any fucking damage here. And there's like, it's one of those bosses where there's a trick to him to beat him.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
he spawns enemies like level 24, 25, and I'm only level 22. And I'm like, these enemies, 3 of them, like, was taking down my health before I got to this boss. I haven't been like fully grinding. But I've not been avoiding fights, if in some RPGs
Yeah,
like
yeah,
this,
yeah.
if you avoid fights, you're screwed. I
Yeah.
wasn't avoiding every fight. Don't get me wrong. See if there was large swarms, I'm like, I'll try and edge round them. But if it was like 2 or 3, I would take those enemies on. I would fight them all the way down. Like, we just made our way down this big cave system, and then I got to him, and I'm like, he's fucking nailing me. Andy, I must have had to retry, like, and it said again, you're struggling with this boss. I'm like, oh great, an even easier mode, but all it did was filled your skill meter, which allows you to chain move. You know, like all 3, you do a move after a move.
Yeah,
and I'm like, this is something's not working here. I actually had to look it up, and I'm not beyond that these days, like, either. I'm like, I would rather ask somebody that's played it and it's better figuring it out. But see, just now when it's a game that I'm just wanting to play, even though I'm enjoying it, it's like I need to figure this out. Like, I'm obviously doing something wrong here that's not obvious, and I looked up a guide. But you'll look up a guide and you won't. But Fraser again.
I look up guides all the time. Like, I don't care.
Fraser won't admit to it, but he will need to look at. There's no way he will just cruise to this, because Fraser's bags it after me, because you know what Fraser's like. He doesn't care about playing. He played Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and he'd never played Xenoblade Chronicles 1, but he now wants to play 1 because 3 connects them both fully and ties the whole story together. So it sounds more like a final one. No doubt they'll do DLC, because this package has got the DLC for 1, which is kind of like an after story of 1 that they added to the 3DS version, I found out. And 2's also got DLC, but 2's DLC happened before Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
It's the Golden Torna or something
which
like that.
Also was standalone, a bit like Sunbreak. It's standalone as well, but it's also sold as DLC. So, pretty good deal in that, by the way. If you've never, just to jump over, if you haven't played Rise and you fancy Monster Hunter, there's a good deal on. But if you buy Sunbreak, they're throwing in Rise. I know on Amazon there's a version. Make sure you get the version that includes Rise, because that is worth it. Because Rise by itself is like 40 quid. And then to buy Sunbreak as DLC, it's $44.99. So if you can get the £56 version that includes both, go for that one, because
definitely.
Monster Hunter Rise was a great game, and I'm looking forward to getting into Sunbreak. It's one of those games like we spoke about. Like, it was my first ever Monster Hunter game, so it's not like I can go back to Resi and I know the controls. I could go back and probably play like Final Fantasy and jump in and know the controls. I might be stuck of where I'm at, but see, with this game, Monster Hunter's a different kettle of fish. I'm forgetting moves. I'm forgetting why I'm doing items. I'm like, why am I doing this? Where am I going? So I need to relearn stuff. And see, at the moment when I'm just trying to finish off some games before the end of the summer, I'm like, I don't have patience to relearn this at the moment. I have no doubt that this is going to be a phenomenal game, and I have no doubt I'm going to really enjoy this Sunbreak, but I can't sit down and relearn at the moment. And because of the way that I've done it, I've bought it as the DLC. I've not bought the kind of standalone. I don't know how it works in that version, but it's just added on to my stuff to do. So it's like, go here.
Okay.
And I'm like, how did I get there? And it's like, because I haven't finished all my quests yet for that line. And I'm like, I can't just jump straight into it. Right, fine. So I jumped into one of the kind of smaller quests. Didn't know how. I'm like, my objective was to catch the monster, not kill it. And I'm like, I have no idea how to catch this thing. It's not like Pokemon. There's a whole process to it. I remember something about you had to select dig pit and you had to use trap bait and stuff and wait for the monster to fall in. And I'm like, it's a fun game. Like, I'm excited to play it. But at that moment, I was trying to figure it out. And I was like, do you know what? I am turning you off just now. And I went back and played some Splatoon. I've been playing some Splatoon 2 because we have got, Andy, one more full month before Splatoon 3's out, so Splatoon 2's on its last days.
I should play that DLC for that game.
What, Splatoon 2 DLC? Yeah, the story mode that they added, I still haven't finished that. I never really went in and played it, because the initial story mode was kind of crappy. It was... I really didn't like it. And this one seemed pretty fun. It was one where you went underground and like it connects to Splatoon 3's story, because Splatoon 1 didn't have a story. And I'm really enjoying it. There's something nice, like rolling away. Like, I don't like the guns in the game. I don't. No. And Andy, when he first told me about Splatoon, remember, because you still had a Wii U and I didn't, I was like, that's not how you would play it. See, when I eventually got a Wii U again, got Splatoon, I'm like, he's right. The roller's the way. In Splatoon 2, I've never really used
really
the guns.
Fun, yeah.
And I enjoy it so much. And like, I've got my tactics with it. I'm quite high leveled. I've not put as many hours as Ian, our friend. He's put over 100 odd.
Crazy, man.
But it's a really good fun game, and I'm like, I really hope that they fixed the friend system so that, because sometimes me and Andy would try and play and you had to be lucky enough to get into the same room, never mind the same team. Like, and even then, once you were in the same room, they shuffled the teams. Like, I don't want that. I want to be able to, like, go, do you want a game of Splatoon? Invite Andy. We're
Yeah, you
both
sort of
on.
squad up. Yeah.
I don't even care about the talking because I know that Nintendo's got their stupid app. I don't even care about that, right? Just allow me to invite Andy to a game and he joins my game like in Fortnite and we can play together. That's all I want. But anyway, I digress. So, Xenoblade, I'm maybe on chapter 6 or 7. And, like, Shulk's getting these visions. I don't want to say too much because I know you'll probably play this game. And I'm playing it. I'm like, I wish Andy had played this because it's the sort of game that we would talk about. Like, when we play Final Fantasy together, I'm like, I really like that part, and I can't say anymore. And it's just I love the job that they've done. Like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 looked great anyway. It was one of the Switch's initial showpieces for a console. It's like, look at this. But Xenoblade Chronicles 1 really looks nice. It's not as daunting as some open world games, and don't get me wrong, the open field kind of parts of it aren't as open yet. How that said, there's games that do this, and it's like, oh, this is open world, and it's like, nah, and you're on like chapter 10, then it goes, here's your open world, son, and it's a giant field. This has got kind of big fields and big areas and like caverns and stuff.
I know there's like, this is the game where you're on the big mechs and stuff in it.
Yeah. So the story with that, this
is why Fraser wants to play it, like, because he likes big mechs.
He's played Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and it's set on the mechs as well. So, like, the thing is, the mechs were locked in a battle eternal, and then at one point they kill each other, and the sword, one sticks the sword, another sticks the sword. So it's like that. And there's like over thousands of millennia people have colonized it and other creatures and stuff.
Yep, they just live on it.
And sometimes the battle comes when they cross the sword, because it's like a bridge between them.
Do you know the only reason like I know anything about this game is because I watched a episode of Boundary Break about it, and like he kind of explains like that sort of thing in it, and like he does a big zoom out of two fucking big giant mech guys with the sword.
I've seen that
cool,
because
man.
Even though you feel that you're only in like a small field, like you can zoom out and they've actually rendered the big mech is fucking there.
Yeah.
At the moment, I'm on they're called I'm on the Bionis' knee, and I've got to go up to the top of its head at the moment, and I thought, I must be near the end of the game. I'm not. So I looked it up and I did my, you know how like I've showed you before, I look at the chapter guide to see how many chapters.
Yeah.
Like I'm on chapter like 7 or something, and there's like 17 chapters. So like I'm nowhere near the end. But I've put a good chunk in to get to chapter 7 at this stage. It's not even the biggest RPG. Like Final Fantasy 7, 78 hours easily, 60, 78 hours, round about then for your first ever play.
My first playthrough of Final Fantasy 7 was 72 hours.
Yeah, so 72 hours. That's about
back in the day.
Round about that. This game's apparently between 40 and 50, because the good thing is you don't need to do every side quest. I don't feel obliged to. Like, there's people to help with exclamation marks, right? So what you do, I go and just speak to them, because they've got loads of quests. I'm not even reading what they're saying because it's all bollocks. Oh, I've lost my fucking hairpin in the field. Don't care. So I collect them all, and see, because I don't have to return to that quest giver, I just take them all, and if I don't achieve them, I don't care. If I come across an exclamation mark in the field, like a big chunky one, I'll go over to it and it'll go do quest completed, and it'll hand in the quest, give you your XP or give you your item.
Nice.
And I'm like, this is brilliant because I couldn't be fucked backtracking. But the way the game's designed is to push you forward. Now,
that's cool.
I don't believe this happened, but in this one, it's got like a dotted line showing you exactly where to go, so you're not wandering. Because I remember when I first played this in the Wii, I was wandering fucking fields going, where the fuck am I meant to go now? Like, it's not really clear. Whereas this is literally follow this dot. And that's how I play it. I'm not really here to explore. I don't feel under-leveled. If I do feel that I'm under-leveled, you can save at any point now, which again, I don't think was in the original version.
Probably
not,
in the
3DS. But I can push pause, save, and it will reload me exactly where I am. Not like some RPGs where it's like, oh, back to the start of the area when you load your save, exactly where I am, and I love that. So it's like, I'm just going to save here, don't care. No ink ribbons here. So it's like, I'm just following the path. And if I come across a group of enemies and I'm like, oh, they're a bit tough, I'll spend some time in that area, and that's where I'll do my grind. Because what I usually do with these games is I'll play. I'll get to a boss and I'll be like, nope, I have to go back to that, and then I'll grind. Or I'll grind closer to the end of the game. But see, just now, it's easier to grind as I go because like I said, you can it's one of those games where, like Final Fantasy 12, where some enemies won't attack you unless they've got an eye symbol. You know, they're not aggressive, but you can attack
Right.
an enemy. So basically, if I get to a bit, like I said, 2 or 3 enemies in a group attack, we struggle to beat them. I'll stay there for a while, and I'll until it becomes easier to fight them.
Yeah.
Then I'll move on. Because Shulk can see in the future because of the Monado, where you can see kind of in the future what's going to happen. If an enemy's about to, it's cool. It'll go black and white and it'll go, whoa, 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 and it'll slow down and it'll show you like, poof, say an enemy kill it, it'll be like show you your friend going down.
Yeah.
If you're quick enough, you can push B and warn whoever's doing it to get out the road and stuff. So it's very cool. You can also like revive, pick them up when they're down, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And you get the Monado skills, you get basically a skill bar comes up almost like an MMO at the bottom, so you have to push left and right to select them rather than like a menu. It's fine. And the cool thing that I like is, because I picked up equipment at the start, and I was like, Shulk has one look. That's how Shulk looks with the red jacket, you know, like how he does in Amiibo. I'm like, I don't want him looking anywhere else. So I picked up, it was like a blue soldier's jacket. They've already get built in, I can't remember the name of it. Transmog. So underneath your menu with equipment and stuff, it's got like a list of your items of clothes, and I'm like, what's this? You can change it to any item.
That's
so like,
cool.
say you picked up the entire soldier's garb, you can just select them, but you could actually have like a hair piece on and stuff like that, you know, because it's a better power level. So all I did was literally selected the colony look, because I'm like, that's how Shulk looks in my mind. He's one of those characters where he shouldn't look different for me anyway. Because it's one of those games where, like, say you pick up like mystical headphones and you put them on, Shulk will be wearing them in the cutscenes as well. It's one of those games. So I'm like, it's cool, but I don't want him wearing this, because it was like the back half. It looked like that almost, but with like a soldier's helmet, and I'm like, it doesn't look right. I should see all his hair.
Yeah.
And then I found out Transmog was in the menu. It doesn't specifically call it that. It's just, and I'm like, I'm setting this. Yeah. The cool thing is, it also includes your weapon. Obviously, Shulk, once he gets the Monado, that's his weapon for the rest of the game. But see your other characters, sometimes I don't like using lances or using hammers. But if it's more powerful, I pick it up. And I go into Transmog and make it look like a sword. Problem solved.
Oh, yeah.
Problem solved. So he might be swinging what's a hammer, but to me it looks like he's swinging the sword still. My pal, can't remember my pal's name, but Ryan or Rain, he's my pal, and Medic the girl, and like it's really really so enjoyable, man. I can't wait to finish it to get on to the next one, but at the same time I'm enjoying what I'm playing of it. But apart from that, and some Splatoon 2, I played PowerWash Simulator. My review's up on the Xbox Hub. It's not out to Thursday. Can't say too much about it just yet. There was some things that was recommended not to be spoken about, but it's so therapeutic, man. It's literally like, I wish it was on haptic. I wish Xbox had haptic feedback, because it would be a lot better. I think if this comes to PlayStation, it'd be worth a pick up there because of the haptics, you know, for the power washer. Yeah. Something just nice, like you start your business and it's like you learn all the different nozzles, you get cleaning fluids, and I don't know what it is. It's just really addictive. You have to clean it.
I don't think I'm gonna play that.
You don't need to.
I'm gonna try House Flipper.
Yeah.
On Game Pass.
I looked at the graphics. It's slightly lesser graphics than.
It's a similar sort of idea though, where like it's a simulator type game where you're going in and you're like renovating a house. Yeah, so you're cleaning the house and then you're redecorating it and that, and knocking down walls and things, which seems kind of like it could be fun. So I'm going to try that.
Yeah, but PowerWash Simulator I really enjoyed. Really thought it was a great game, and
I actually would like to play PowerWash Simulator because it's made by Future Lab, who are the guys that made Velocity. Like, I fucking loved Velocity, man. Like, it was amazing. It's just weird that they're doing like this game, because that's completely different.
So fun. Like, honestly, like you start with your van, then you do a house, and then you do other things, but then it starts getting wacky, and like there's a special mode where you can play with like your friends. Like, you can just, it's the dad of all games. If you're a dad, it's the daddest of dad games, and like it goes crazy. Like, you can clean a steam locomotive, you can clean like some of the things I can't say, but you'll find them. But then there's like the Mars rover is one of the ones you can clean, like once it's back from Mars, and see, just to get that 100%, like you get text messages for other jobs, like come and clean my bike for extra money and use that money to buy new gear and stuff. So you might leave the job you're on just to go and clean somebody's bike in the garage quick if it's like an event sort of cleaning, then you go back and you've got a detective still vision thing and you hold right and it like highlights things in orange that's still left to be cleaned. And I've not left any job that wasn't 100% just yet because it's got that quality of I'm not going to be happy if this is 97. And sometimes you're hunting down just that last bit of dirt like on the house or whatever it is, and it's hard to see sometimes. It's not a graphical powerhouse by any means, but yeah, my review's up on the Xbox Hub. I could highly recommend it. Obviously, at the time of review, I couldn't test out multiplayer, but it's really fun looking. And I played Redout 2. If you like Wipeout, it's not as good as Wipeout. Wipeout's more arcadey feeling. I think that suits anti-grav racers. Redout 2 is kind of, if there was a sim version, that's more what it would be because there's more control of the craft. Like you've got to control strafing and pitch and stuff like that, where you never really had to worry about the pitch of your anti-grav craft and Wipeout. It was just go and boost.
Yeah.
And like
Sure.
yeah, Redout is fast though. It says it's the fastest game in the universe. It feels fucking fast. Sometimes you have to kind of readjust your eyes. It moves that fast, and it looks nice enough. It's just it's no F-Zero X, which was my favourite one out of them all. I loved that game. On this, I think it was the 64 I had that on.
Yeah, it's like 64, and there was the GameCube one as well.
There was a GameCube. I never had a GameCube long. Remember, it was for Resi 4, and then I didn't like Resi 4 as much as I thought I would, so I got rid of my GameCube. But like, yeah, it's good. It's a good game. It's solid. Like it's tough. It was really difficult. I kept blowing up, and you have to manage overheating and boost and stuff. There was just too much going on for my simple mind. That's what I'll say. I prefer in these racers just go and right and left, and that's it. And shoot maybe, and if it's got weapons. But this you had to control the pitch. You know, the elevation if you're going up hills, and then worry about tilt and strafing and stuff. And it was just a lot going on for me. Like I'd rather play Titanfall than Mech Warrior. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. Like Titanfall.
Titanfall 2 is good though, man. Like really good game. Yeah.
But
even the multiplayer is really fun.
Redout 2 review should be going up soon as well. I've got more to say about that and that. And I'm working on a piece that should be up by Friday on Neverwinter and the new Dragon Slade expansion. I'm really having fun with that game, man. I haven't even touched the parts that I'm meant to be covering because I'm busy doing stuff that I want to do. Again, I'm not a Dungeons and Dragons guy. I'm not really an MMO guy. But see, for this, it's fun, man. The combat's fucking good, solid. Good game. And that's all I played. Like, I know that's quite a lot, but like, it was good. Resident Evil. The only reason I didn't move straight into Resident Evil when I went to Xenoblade is because I'm like, don't sicken yourself. Don't sick yourself. You've basically done 2 here. And I know I was kind of in the midst of both of them, but if I moved on to another one, I would have been like, I'm done. I'm not in the mood to play it. So Xenoblade first, then over to Resident Evil 1, I think, for me. So I'll probably go into Resident Evil 1 just as you should be finishing up in my... Nah, you'll probably be finished before that.
Sometime.
You're not going to take 60 odd hours, but...
No, probably not. I did finish one other game as well, Days Gone. Went back and polished that off. I like that game a lot, apart from the hordes. Don't like the hordes at all.
It's hordes a cool idea, but they were tricky to pull off properly. From
it's
what I remember.
so difficult to actually beat them. Like some of them are insane, honestly. Like there's quite a few hordes that are like they're part of the story, so you have to do them. And then there's a whole bunch of optional ones. So like optional ones, I didn't touch them. I avoided them completely. But like the story ones, like some of them were so difficult. And I played that game on easy, and the rest of the game I got through okay. Like didn't have too many issues, like taking out bandits and whatnot. That was fine. Or like the zombies that are kicking around, just the regular ones. But then as soon as you come across a horde, it just fucking destroys you because there's like 1,000 zombies to kill, and like you're sitting there with like a machine gun that doesn't kill them in one hit really, and is too slow to kill many of them. Like you can't just stand and shoot them. You have to like shoot them and run and then stop and shoot. But then once they're onto you, like 'cause as soon as they hear you shoot, they're like, I'm fucking getting him, and they come after you like so fast. And then you're using like your Molotovs and stuff like that. But I always found that I picked up any resources that I came across, and I would always go into the cars and loot them and whatnot, and any kind of any kind of plants and stuff that I came across, I would try and pick them up. But I found I was always continually just running out of supplies to build like the actual useful shit. So like the Molotovs and like your like pipe bombs and stuff you could throw that would actually like kill zombies.
Yeah, it was more strict survival than even Resident Evil, I find.
Yeah, and like I never found it too much of an issue. Like again, I'm playing on easy, but like I never found it too much of an issue when I was coming across like normal zombies around, or when I was coming across like bandit camps that I had to take out. Like I got killed here or there, when taking out a couple of bandit camps. But it's just me being stupid and like letting them get the drop on me, that type of stuff. But anytime when I got the hordes, like I would die and die and die over and over again. And, like really, really difficult, some of them. And even that's even playing on easy. Like I think the crafting, they should have given you more stuff, more tools to take down the zombies. And some people might say that there's plenty that it gives you. Okay, but they don't allow you to carry enough of those things at any one time. So then you're having to stop and craft, and the time slows down when you're doing that. But like they don't stop, so you're like then slow mo, and it's like I'm fucking crafting a Molotov, and then by the time I'm like getting ready to throw it, like the zombie's on me, and it's like as soon as one gets you, it's like vroom, and they just eat you, which is just frustrating. So I didn't enjoy the hordes at all, but the rest of the game I liked, and I really liked the story and the main character. What's his name? The actor that plays him,
Sam Witwer.
Sam Witwer. Yeah, I was going to say Sam Witwicky, and I'm like, that's not it.
That's him from Transformers.
Transformers, yeah. Yeah, Sam Witwer. But yeah, I liked him a lot. Deacon St. John is the character name. And I liked his character a lot. Like I probably preferred like Deacon St. John's character to Joel from The Last of Us. Like, in fact, not even probably. Like, I definitely preferred him. I thought he was much more fun and much cooler.
He's not. And I love Sam Witwer because he's Star Killer.
Yeah, and his performance in the game's great, and like the supporting cast and that are in it, really like them as well. And not as much as like the ones in The Last of Us and Last of Us 2 and whatnot, but like main character, I think was better than The Last of Us.
Really
overall story isn't. Yeah, I like him. He's cool.
He was in Smallville. Was the first thing I seen him in. He was Doomsday in Smallville.
Yep. But yeah, I think that was it was a good game, and they just needed to like make the hordes either completely optional or more manageable. I think give you like even like proper traps that you could build for them, like build like a bridge that you could blow up and they would just all fall down, like that type of stuff. Because that's what I would do in this type of world. There's a big horde there because they do it in The Walking Dead. Like, oh, there's a big horde here, right? Let's lure them across this bridge, and then we'll just blow up the bridge and they'll all fall down in this big ravine. Great, cool. So like, they could have done shit like that, which would have been epic.
I've seen people doing similar things on YouTube, like running away and bringing them through routes through barns that have got barrows, but all they're doing is like shooting the barrows as the horde.
Yeah, they're just exploding barrels. Yeah, I mean, most of it's just like shooting a bit, running away, throwing Molotovs, throwing pipe bombs, and like detonating remote grenades that you've placed already. And that's almost every guy that I watched. That's all they did for every horde.
Yep.
And I'm like, it's not really fun to just run away from things and like just kind of pick them off one by one. Like it would be cool if you could like do something that was like epic here, but you never really feel that. It does take a long time, which feels epic when you
bring down an entire building sort of thing.
Yeah, like knock over like a giant steeple on top of them, or like kill them with a giant bell or something like that. Or chop down a tree and it falls down and kills half of them before they even know what's going on. Like that type of stuff. Like they could have made some real epic moments, and they didn't really do any of that. But I did like the story and the world and the characters overall. So like a really good game overall. It is a shame there's no sequel because I think that they could have polished some of the stuff up from this game and like made a fucking incredible sequel game. And I think we'll get one in the future. Like it might take 5-10 years, but like I think we'll see one at some point down the line.
Yeah, it'll be it'll be like one of those films that didn't do well at the box office, but then it was it was beloved by people.
Yep. I think this game probably is a bit underappreciated because it didn't get the best critical reception, I think, when it came out, and I don't know that it sold that well. So, but I think people need to give it a shot because it's a good game. Like, there's some really good stuff in it. But yeah, I didn't play anything else. That was everything.
Cool. So we'll finish up there. shorter show, but hopefully you enjoyed it. Check out PowerWash Simulator. Visit the Xbox Hub to see my review there. Could have some more gaming news of places I'm going to write at soon, but not this week. Next week we won't be on the show because I will not be at home. I'll be away, home and away. I'll be in Aviemore for the week, but
Nice.
the following week we'll be back because I'm pretty sure I might have finished Xenoblade Chronicles that week because I can't take my Xbox or anything up there really. So Switch it is, and that's my main game that I'm playing on the Switch.
If you had a Series S, you could take it with you.
But I don't, so I can't.
Nope.
If I really wanted to, I could take my PS4 Slim because it doesn't weigh anything in the bag. But my Switch is fine, and it's going to give me the Xenoblade Chronicles focus to finish it. So when I come back, I'm fresh to try something else. I'll probably play Splatoon and things up there as well. And if I get through Xenoblade quick, because there comes a certain time of night in Aviemore where there's not a lot to do, and especially if you get two kids that are in bed by 7, you're kind of just stuck there. With normal TV, like not much to see on that, so I'll be taking my Switch with me, and obviously I'll have my tablet to watch things on. But yeah, we'll see you the week after. But thank you very much for watching. I've been Ali, he's been Andy. Bye.